morning, everyone. Welcome to ADEX Pixel Expo. And today we have with me David Mcguire, one of the underwater filmmaker that has been focusing a lot on sharks and conservation, marine conservation. Hi, David. Welcome to ADEX Pixel Virtual Expo.
Thank you, Nora. Nice to meet you online, and hello,
Yes.
everyone.
So I should not hold you any further because we are all excited to know all about this film that you're going to feature and share with us. Over to you.
Great, thank you. Well, it's wonderful to be part of ADEX Asia remotely with Pixel, and in association also with the Blu Hope event online. We started on World Oceans Day and with Dr. Sylvia Earle and Sir David Attenborough, and it's a week of celebration of the ocean and diving, and also trying to achieve solutions towards protecting the oceans that we love and the oceans that keep us healthy. And I think now, in particular with this COVID crisis, we're aware more than ever, I hope, that all life is important. It's important to have an integrated and healthy ecosystem that includes all its components, including sharks and other apex predators, but also managing wildlife in a responsible manner and not eating it or keeping it in these wet markets where there's a transfer of these zoonotic diseases. So healthy oceans mean healthy humans. And I really hope that we have an awareness of how important the ocean is for human health, for global health, for the planet's health. And of course, as divers, we get it because we love to get in the water and be under the water and to see it and to experience it. As a filmmaker, I love to story tell, and I want to show a film called Alice in Borneo's Wonderland a little later. But I want to talk first about what Shark Stewards does, because we actually work, not quite yet, we actually work in conservation in Asia as well as here in North America where I live currently. I actually will be moving to Singapore, so maybe seeing some of you in person. So I want to just share my screen here and put on my deck and just show some great photos, some stories about what Shark Stewards does and how people can get involved and help be part of the solution to stop ocean pollution, to stop overfishing sharks and other marine life, and to help us create a healthier future for young people and future generations. And that's what a lot of this is what I would like to talk about today. And today I understand that the festival is really geared at youth and youth energy and youth power. One of the things that was very exciting at the launch of the Blu Hope association with Pixel ADEX is this great detective toolkit with Joe Ruxton and the plastic pollution, the producer of Ocean Plastics, and it's actually a toolkit that kids can download in five languages, learn about their environment, learn how to address plastics, how to reduce it, quantify it, and actually become part of the solution to reduce one of the most imminent and urgent impacts on ocean and human health, and that is the rise of plastics in our environment. So hi, I'm David Mcguire. If you're just tuning in, I am the director and founder of Shark Stewards. We are a nonprofit based in Berkeley, California, right next to the university where I went to grad school and worked. We're part of the Earth Island Institute, which is a greater environmental think tank that addresses issues worldwide on ocean health, marine mammals, but also human rights, human justice, food rights, a variety of issues that are facing our planet. So we take care of the other 71% of the planet, the ocean, the salty part of our planet. And we do that through education. I am a professor, an adjunct professor. I teach, and we've been addressing a lot of our education online because we're trying to keep at a social distance, reaching kids, reaching you through the power of the internet. and taking that education and applying it towards advocacy and education. So we try to apply conservation awareness through education towards actual policy around marine protection and marine protected areas and stopping the shark fin trade. So that's what Shark Stewards does. And I'd like to just kind of share a little bit of my history. I'm an ocean voyager. I've crossed just about every ocean. I'm a National Geographic explorer. I'm a research associate with the California Academy of Sciences, where I've studied sharks around the world, but mostly we try to apply data towards marine protection, as well as show films and write stories like for National Geographic or for other journals to generate awareness and generate action, because really we are in an ocean crisis. And you think that the world is getting sick, the ocean is really sick, and we haven't been taking its temperature very well or applying medicine to it. So I want to focus on the Coral Triangle all the way across the Pacific, down where you all are, or most of you are at ADEX. I've worked in the Philippines with the California Academy of Sciences on a biodiversity expedition. We helped make a film called Reefs to Rainforest. But in the past 7 years, I've been working in Malaysia and Borneo, down there, that third largest island to your lower left, in Sabah in particular, and working with a film production company called Scuba Zoo, with Bertie Gikoski, who Aaron is a moderator of ADEX. He's an incredible wildlife photographer, and there's a great series that we've been part of, investigating sharks, investigating shark catch, going diving, looking at solutions to coral reef restoration. So that's on SCTV with Scuba Zoo. So we've been involved with some production, but also looking at the shark fin trade and as well as trying to address and create marine protected areas. So there is an initiative now that was started in the Convention for Biological Diversity to protect 30% of our planet, of our oceans, 30% of our oceans by 2030. And it's called Love 3030. And it's a big focus of this week-long celebration and hopefully action with World Oceans Week, with this great Pixel, Asia, ADEX, and Blu Hope webinars. So I want to a little bit later, I'll take you down to the bottom there of this new country, relatively new, called Timor-Leste, used to be East Timor, and celebrating the New Hope spot that was created with local people, with the Association of Tourism Management, with the government, and with some help from Shark Stewards, as well as Timor Blue, or Simon Christopher, who is a big participant in this webinar and this whole week-long celebrations and webinars and action series. The Coral Triangle has the highest biodiversity on the planet. There are more species than any place else, more than the rainforest. There's more species of coral than the Australian Barrier Reef. There's over 600 species of hard corals. In Timor-Leste alone, there's 400 species of reef fish on one reef. 2/3 of all reef fish exist in this triangle that actually is about half the size of Australia. So it's a very small area of our planet, yet is extremely important for maintenance of biological diversity. And there are also many endemic species like the zebra shark that only live in a very small range, and extraordinarily beautiful, very gentle, and increasingly more difficult to find. Hammerheads, one of the most popular sharks to see as a diver, and one of the most exciting sharks to see as a diver. These are a threatened species. They're actually threatened with extinction in our lifetimes if we do not do something to create protected areas, as well as stop the shark fin trade. They are protected under the Convention of International, the Convention of International Trade of Endangered Species, but these fins are still in the shark fin market and are getting eaten the shark fin soup. They're so beautiful, so adapted, and they deserve to survive. Thresher sharks, a great source of enthusiasm, a photographer's dream. Areas like Malapascua in the Philippines draw a huge amount of tourism dollars to come see these pelagic species. These two are also now protected under CITES, but they are threatened from primarily the shark fin trade. Manta rays, these beautiful, what we call flat sharks, because these are elasmobranchs, they are actually a kind of ray which is in the same group as the sharky sharks, what we consider the true sharks. There are about 1,000 species of rays, so they are the most speciose, and they are highly represented as a group, the batoids, in the coral triangle. These are so beautiful. They are filter feeders. Again, a photographer's dream or a diver's dream to see one of these. It's like being in the sky with eagles if you're able to dive with them. These are threatened species for their gills to make traditional medicine. So a lot of these animals are ending up in these markets or in these apothecaries instead of in the ocean where they belong. Coral cat shark. So in the coral triangle, which are about 120 species in that small region, out of about 1,050, maybe 1,100 species of elasmobranchs or sharks, skates, and rays. Most of these sharks in the coral triangle are these ground sharks, like cat sharks, like bamboo sharks, that don't have to swim. They're nocturnal. They live under ledges. They're really cute. And unfortunately, we're also seeing these in the markets. They're caught as bycatch, where bottom trawlers, like for shrimp, end up catching these sharks, where they used to get let go or were just used as sort of fish food or fish meal. We're seeing these fins enter the shark fin trade. So Birdie and Scuba Zoo and I did a special. It's on YouTube, sc.tv, and we investigate the catch of these sharks all the way through the vendor, the fish market, and the plate. So it's incredible to me that somebody would eat something like this that is so gentle and so beautiful, but also so important for the health of the benthic part of the ocean ecosystem. So we know about big sharks that are apex predators are important to the top and the middle. These sharks like rays and these cat sharks are important to the bottom. So sharks are like the surgeons and the sanitarians. The white sharks and the thresher sharks and the mako sharks they're the surgeons. They heal the sick by eating them. They take out the sick, the stupid, and the slow, and they leave behind the quick and the smart and better DNA. But the bottom sharks eat the dead. They take out the trash. They eat the food that are dead fish that might rot and cause anaerobic decay or death to the coral or the benthic ecosystem. So going back to COVID, it's important to have all components to have a healthy ecosystem. So these are really the most common sharks we see in the coral triangle. And also they're more common because they live in reefs where bottom trawlers or nets will snag. They're not necessarily a targeted shark. They are targeted, for example, this bamboo shark for the aquarium trade, but they're not super coveted for food, but if they are caught, they are eaten or made into fish meal or fish balls. So if you ever eat fish balls, you may be eating a lot of weird things, including sharks and rays. And this blue spotted stingray, which is a very beautiful little flat shark, is very common in the coral triangle as well. So I want to take you to Borneo and thank my friends at Scuba Zoo for a lot of these great images. I wish I took them, but some of the following afterwards I did take, but they donated these. But here in the coral triangle, we have some of the most amazing fish, invertebrates, vertebrates, and most of these are currently residing in these marine protected areas, like Sipadan Island in Semporna, off of the southeast coast of Sabah in Malaysia. Incredible diving, a photographer's dream, beautiful diversity of frogfish, hard corals, pipefish, seahorses, sea snakes, nudibranchs, cuttlefish, these invertebrates that are just so incredible, so beautiful. They change colors, related to octopus and squid, highly intelligent, actually the most sophisticated eye in the animal kingdom, and yet these are actually being killed in these trawls as well and for food. But this is what a healthy ocean should look like. This is in a protected area. You see almost 100% cover of coral, soft corals, sponges, and of course, sea turtles and other fish. And we're only seeing these now in protected areas. The areas outside of marine protected areas that are enforced are declining in all species, but particularly species most at risk, like sea turtles, like sharks, and some of the marine mammals, as well as edible fish. In the open ocean, we're seeing a huge decline as well. These long lines, some of these long lines are really long, 60 miles or more. They have thousands of baited hooks, and the first thing that goes to them generally are a shark. They smell it, they sense it, they eat it, they get caught. Most of the time that sharks die, not always. They used to be released until this huge demand for shark fin soup associated with wealth, honor, face, generosity in the Asian culture, primarily Chinese, and really it's associated with economics. So since the post-communist revolution, there are more middle class in China than anywhere else, more people with expendable income, and they want this dish that's associated with prosperity. That was a dish of the Song Emperor 1,000 years ago. Unfortunately, we can't have 200 million Song emperors eating shark fin soup. It's really about supply and demand. There are too many people that want to eat too few sharks, and we're erasing sharks from the ocean. So where sharks used to be let go or were killed as bycatch are now being kept, or their fins are being used for this delicacy shark fin soup. This was taken by Sea Shepherd in Timor-Leste last year, 2018. These sharks were illegally harvested. They're in protected species. There were piles of fins. More power to Sea Shepherd for blowing the whistle. 5 ships were violating their license. There actually was one ship that had a license, was a Taiwanese flagged vessel, and they ended up killing tens of thousands of sharks in this country's waters. So that you hear about shark attacks, it's really not shark bites man, it's man bites shark. And many species are threatened with extinction. 25% of sharks and rays are threatened with extinction under the red list by the International Union of Conservation of Nature. It's probably more, about 40% of all species of sharks are data deficient. We don't know how many there are. We don't know how many babies they have. We don't know how late it takes for them to get pregnant. Some sharks, it takes 30 years. A Greenland shark takes over 100 years before they can be reproductively successful. So we can't manage a species if we don't know about their basic biology. But what we do know is we're overfishing them at an alarming rate. And even the rays that we used to leave in the ocean are being killed for their fins for what is called the king of shark fin soup, the highest valued fins found in Hong Kong last year, $800 US a kilogram. And so this demand is actually creating this market where fishermen in Africa, in South America, in remote island nations, in the middle of the oceans are going to kill these fish because there is such high value. $100 for a set of fins, that's a lot for a poor fisherman. If there was not a market, that fisherman would not be killing these animals for their fins. So we're trying to intervene. This is what Shark Stewards does. We started here in California and in 13 states now. We have a bill in the US Congress to ban the sale and trade of shark fin. And we do that through education, through coalitions with Asian Americans and people from other cultures, including Asian Pacific Islanders, to say, hey, we want sharks in the ocean, not in the soup. We don't need this dish. It's unnecessary, it's a luxury, and it's killing the health of our oceans. And we're seeing a big movement globally, including there. Singapore is number 2, possibly number 3. Malaysia might have bumped it out last year in the shark fin trade, which is why Shark Stewards works in Malaysia and in Singapore. We're not working in Hong Kong anymore. It's more difficult, but what we're seeing because of awareness is that it's like a hydra. It's popping up in other places. So shark fin trade has declined in Hong Kong, but it's increasing in other countries, including there in Singapore. So I was there last year building relationships, friendships, and trying to reach people in the government as well as academia to document this, to get students involved, to educate, to get businesses to stop serving shark fin soup and intervene with this trade. Also, reaching you, the divers, because sharks generate jobs. Sharks are worth more alive than they are dead. In some cases, like Palau, it's estimated that one shark in its lifetime is worth $1.9 million to the local economy through tourism services. That's a lot of money. It's actually almost half Palau's GDP is through ecotourism. So in the Philippines and the Maldives, where this was taken, in Mexico, people would much rather prefer to dive with a whale shark. The fishermen would much rather prefer to take the divers out so he can go home and see his wife and kids and sleep in his bed at night, rather than going out and fishing, diminishing fish supplies and working harder to make less money. So sharks are generating jobs. They're also important for the economy. These are 2015 numbers, but all of these countries, whale sharks and reef sharks in the Maldives, French Polynesia, which is now a shark sanctuary, which has fully marine protected areas. When I first went, we saw a lot of coral damage. In 2003, I was on an expedition where we saw sharks being finned. I made a film called Shark Stewards of the Reef, quit my job and founded Shark Stewards to advocate for shark protection. And we are winning, but we're not winning fast enough. We need your help. Especially, we need your help in the Coral Triangle. Please join Shark Stewards and these other great nonprofits working there. And be a diver. Seychelles whale sharks, South Africa tiger sharks, and of course, white shark cage diving in South Africa generates millions of dollars. Here in California as well, many other nations are seeing the value of diving with sharks versus killing them for a one-time profit. So the taxi drivers, the people who make the beds, the people who serve the food, the restaurateurs, the people who are selling t-shirts, the dive operators are all making money day after day, year after year, because we as divers love to go dive with sharks. So we need to share that because that's generating long-term economic benefit, which is also in turn benefiting the ecology. So saving sharks protects the oceans, it protects the ecosystem, and it's protecting poor communities in the long term, particularly in some of these countries that are developing, like Timor-Leste. So not just dive tourism, but whale watching, mountain biking, kayaking, some of these, this is nature adventure-based tourism by by millennials, or me, I'm at the tail end of the baby boom. People have either retired, I'm not, or they have a lot of money and time, I don't, but they are spending it, they're going diving, and that's benefiting the economy. The other problem and the other solution that we're working at here with BluHope.org as well as ADEX is to reduce plastic pollution. This is the scourge of the ocean. This is the COVID of ocean health. This is expanding in an incredible manner, and most of it is unseen in microplastics. Plastic doesn't go away. If we dump it, it ends up in the ocean. Plastic bags, single-use containers, as much as 10 million tons a year. 80% is coming from the land. The rest is coming from ships, from other sources, non-point sources. So these poor kids like this are living, instead of a beautiful ocean, looking at fish, are seeing an ocean of plastic. So there are solutions. I encourage you to look at the toolkit on BluHope.org and take the challenge. Get out and don't use plastic straws. Use these reusable containers. Save a shark by reducing our plastic use, because it is an ocean crisis that's not only affecting us, it's affecting fish, it's affecting sharks, it's affecting whales. Plastic is an endocrine disruptor. Plastic is an endocrine mimic. Plastic is a mutagen. It's a carcinogen. We are poisoning the oceans that we love and we rely on. As divers, we know you don't skip breathe, right? You start running out of air. You're trying to go on 50% breaths. That's called skip breathing. You're getting half of your air supply. That's where we get our oxygen from. At least 50% comes from the ocean. And we're putting plastic in that's killing not only the plankton, it's also poisoning the wildlife, as well as reducing the mitigation aspects or impacts from climate change. So if we can reduce plastic in the ocean, we're actually going to offset climate change, one of the other biggest problems facing our ocean that's causing sea level rise, that's causing acidification so that plankton's skeletons cannot form, coral reefs cannot form because of this lower pH. So if we can start with plastic wherever you live, and you can live 1,000 miles from the ocean, and you can save a shark by not eating shark fin soup, by only eating sustainable seafood, and by using less plastic. And we need to do it now, because plastic is going from the bottom of the food chain to the top of the food chain to you and me. I don't eat fish. Don't eat fish. You're going to help offset some of those impacts. But if you do eat fish, only eat sustainable fish, such as on the Seafood Watch Guide or Seafood Watch with the Monterey Bay Aquarium. So a lot of heavy things, a lot of urgency. And we were on a panel the other night, and people can kind of start sinking in their chairs and getting depressed. I mean, I work with this. I live this every single day. I've been diving for 46 years, and I've seen change. I've seen one of my favorite sharks, disappear. 20 million a year getting killed of blue sharks in the open ocean. You can't really eat a blue shark. Their urea is so high in their blood, it's almost unpalatable. But those big, beautiful fins are coveted for shark fin soup. So this is what a bowl of soup looks like. And also the knock-on effect of removing these top predators all the way down to the plankton. So, but there is hope. There are some great people. There's some great events like this. I think hopefully tomorrow, after there's this great seminar or webinar on hope spots, on marine protected areas, on taking action of plastic. I know that the ADEX site, as well as the Blu Hope, as well as sharkstewards.org, has petitions to government, has action items that we can all take at home to save sharks and hopefully get us back out diving again. And in particular, I want to share this that we were involved with. I was invited to go to Timor-Leste in 2019 by USAID and participate in this amazing conference with these incredible people who are so passionate and committed to protecting their young nation and their small nation and their emerging nation and their small economy that needs to be bolstered in a sustainable fashion. And the way we want to do that is through sustainable tourism, because this place rocks it. This place has some of the most beautiful reefs and beaches I have ever seen, and I've been to a lot of great places. And diving with these local guys like Amos here, who is a dive master, and who took me to this uplifted limestone reef. We're seeing beautiful coral reefs, ancient sea fans, giant sponges, more diversity than any place on the planet that I've seen. Some of these sponges and sea fans are centuries old, and crocodiles too. So there are a lot of great stories on Timor-Leste from below. Check it out with Birdie. They're funny, they're fun, and they're informative. They talk about the culture also, because these are totem animals to the Tatum people. And these just beautiful reefs. The island of Atuaro is already ahead of the game for this new hope spot. There in the Ambai Vetai Straits, down at the bottom between the main Timor-Leste island. This island has this network of marine protected areas that are locally managed, that are benefiting. They need to benefit the locals more, especially the lack of tourism is hurting people. These are some of the best reefs. I dove most of these. I met the village chiefs. These people are so passionate. They love what they have. And if we can bring in money as divers and help protect it, it's going to help this country. It's going to help these people. So with Conservation International, there was some great science. It's now delineated as MPAs. Now we need to help bring in tourism to stay at these great resorts. Go with Blue Ventures, go with Atuaro Dive Resort, go with Timor La Rose, go with Dive Dreamers Dive Academy. You can learn how to get certified. You can see a dugong maybe. Some of the most incredible cetaceans are in this area to see whales, big fish in the MPAs, beautiful corals. You can take a hike and go do a homestay like I did with Super Mario, who's with the ATM, hiked over the mountains. I had to bring my free dive equipment because I couldn't bring my scuba gear over this cliff, and actually one of the most peaceful places to stay. And I wanted to stay a month, but I was only able to stay for a night before going back over. So these network of MPAs are in place. They deserve our support because we'd much rather have an ecosystem like this than a bowl of soup or a dead reef. So I really want to work with the ATM. We want to come back. We hope to film. You can join us in November, we hope. We'd already planned to bring some scientists and divers from the United States next month, but we can't because of COVID. But we do plan on coming. We've got a boat. We've got Simon Christopher, who's putting together a media plan. We've got great local partners that are going to help us. And we're going to pay them. We're going to bring in some money, and we're also going to bring in guests who can actually help support this young nation, like these boys here, or young men, who instead of fishing are helping take divers out. And hopefully they'll be not only boat captains, they'll be dive masters and scuba instructors, and they'll be making money in the long term and bringing people down. So instead of fishing and selling fish on the street, they'll do this, take us out diving and seeing some of these amazing ecosystems. So let's all dive in, save a shark with Shark Stewards and some of these other great organizations at ADEX, and work to protect our ocean planet. There's a goal by 2030 to protect 30%. Under the Sustainable Development Goals, the last ocean conference, SDG 14, was to protect 20% by 2020. We're a long way off, folks. Around 6% is under marine protected areas. These are at rest. 25% of the Pacific is currently under the knife by my president. Not my president, I didn't vote for him, but he is my president. President Trump has said we can go in and fish our marine protected areas. We are not going to allow that to happen. These are some of the best reefs in the Pacific, the best healthy protected areas, and we need to advocate. If you want to learn how, you can go to our website, you can sign a petition. If you're an American, you can tell your senator, no way are we going to open these for fishing. We want more protected areas, not less. So help us help these people in Timor-Leste, there in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Papua New Guinea, in the Solomon Islands, in this coral triangle where there's such high diversity. And let's keep the hope up. Let's protect it. Thank you, Dr. Earl. Thank you to USAID. Thank you to all of the partners in ATM for creating these hope spots. And also I want to thank my Chinese partners, because we are working with youth, with students. We are teaching students how to dive, teaching them marine biology on Pom Pom Island with TRAC, the Tropical Research and Conservation Center, founded by my friend, Dr. Steve Oakley. It's still going on in Pom Pom Island in Malaysia, but also happening in these other areas in the Coral Triangle where young Chinese, like Darcy Liu there, are surfing, they're diving, they're cleaning up trash, and they're respecting sharks and respecting the ocean and us. So let's have respect for other cultures. Let's educate, let's motivate, don't hate. This is not a Chinese virus. It started there, but we need to work with all of our brothers and sisters across the planet to protect our ocean. We're on one boat together. Let's not rock it. Let's not fall in the ocean and drown. Let's jump over the side and work together and protect it. So we have Ryan here in Shenzhen, where we're going to bring a film festival. We're trying to educate Chinese in Chinese to love the ocean and not eat it. Also, other wildlife like Violet, one of my students or one of my interns who was passionate about sun bears, is supporting the Borneo Sun Bear Center and not eating these animals for their bear bile or exporting them from Borneo, or pangolins or other wildlife trade that are also what we're seeing in COVID, in SARS, are jumping across from one animal to another, from bats or other wildlife to humans. So let's protect this wildlife, let's not eat it, and let's support tourism. So I want to thank Bertie. It's been great to work with him. I look forward to seeing him again and working together in Timor-Leste, in Bali, in the Coral Triangle, and Simon Christopher, who brought me into Borneo, he keeps at it. We talk in the middle of the night, almost every night, So I work all day and then I work at night on your time. We will be in Singapore spending a lot more time. I look forward to seeing a lot of you and hopefully diving. And we have Blu Hope. And my favorite intern, Alice, who is a Canadian student. She's Chinese. She was an advocate for the Canadian shark fin ban. Canada, thanks to Prime Minister Trudeau, is the largest nation in the world to say we're not selling it, we're not buying it. We have a lot of Chinese in Vancouver and Victoria who have a lot of money, but they're not going to eat shark fin soup. And that's what we're trying to do here in North America, in the USA, in Mexico, and bring that ethos among the Chinese of these countries, saying that, hey kids, go see a shark, don't eat it. And they're learning how to dive. She learned how to scuba. She's now an advanced. She's taken rescue diving. She wants, she's going to be a marine biologist. Alice got into Stanford. I'm so proud of her. And she's an advocate. So we're going to share a film after a couple more thank yous and show this film produced with Scuba Zoo called Alice in Borneo's Wonderland when she was 16 years old. And this young woman has done so much. And I am so inspired by her and by young people. And they are the hope that I have. And I hope you do too. Let's bring them in the water. Let's cross these cultural barriers with love, with education, with marine protection. So I want to thank my sponsors and supporters as well. So thanks for listening. Thanks to ADEX. Thanks to our host. Let's see if we can watch the film. And then we'll have room for questions, I think, at the bottom. So I'm going to unscreen share here. Thank you again. I'm David Mcguire with Shark Stewards. If you go to our website, sharkstewards.org, you can see how you can take action, actually. That's not it. Zoom. There's the main Zoom. There's my deck. There's my thing. I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. My picture is covering me. So thanks again, Nora, for hosting. And I hope you enjoy the film.
Thank you so much, David. It was a really good talk. I don't know. I'm a bit afraid of shark ever since Jaws, but but I don't know.
I love Jaws.
I really thought Treasure Shark is beautiful, though.
Thank you. So I was in high school when Jaws was made, and it was started with a book by Peter Benchley, who was a really great writer and became a friend and advocate for sharks. He was mortified what that film did. And even Steven Spielberg made that film. It's a great film. We watch it in parody now. We laugh, we sing the songs, we say the lines. It's a powerful film, but it's actually it takes sharks so out of context. It's really, we're the shark eaters, not the sharks aren't the man eaters or woman eaters. And we really need to change our ethos that sharks in most cases should be afraid of us. There's only a few that actually bite people. On average, 5 people a year out of almost 8 billion people, including all us divers, die by shark attack. Whereas, lightning, falling in the bathtub, plastic, choking on a straw, more people die than sharks.
Oh God, that's scary. But actually true lah. We are the carnivore of the world, I must say.
Well, our goal as Shark Stewards really is to look at the world that we need sharks because we need all the components of the ocean. And we really should be afraid when we don't see a shark. That's when we should start getting scared. And that's what our mission is. So it's not really we don't just save sharks. We want to protect the whole ocean. So kids can go diving. So kids just go swimming and see a coral reef. We need all animals, but we really need these big predators.
Okay, thank you so much for the share, David. I've learned a lot about shark just by listening to you right now. So, but I'm still afraid of Jaws and sharks. Still, but thanks for sharing, though.
Yeah, watch the Catshark film with Birdie. You'll see how cute they are.
Really? Yeah,
the coral Catshark. It's on our YouTube channel called Shark Stewards on YouTube, but it's also on se.tv and on Borneo from Below with Scuba.
Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you so much, David. Have a good evening.
You too. Are we going to watch the film? Is it screening or?
Yeah, I think. Yes, I think it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Sharks. Ancient, majestic, perfect predators. For millions of years, they have maintained the ocean's health. But as threats to our oceans increase, sharks and all marine life are at great risk.
We have the power to solve the ocean problems with young people. In fact, it's the only solution to the problem.
My name is Alice. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I've come to Borneo to experience what it takes to become a biologist.
My name is David Mcguire. I am the director and founder of the nonprofit Stewards. This is really a great adventure, traveling through Borneo, the center of biodiversity.
I always love the ocean. I'm interested in how the marine animals live. Obviously, a lot of their populations are declining, and I want to learn about conservation projects. So I think I'll major in biology in university, and we'll see how that goes.
After joining up with the Shark Stewards team in Borneo, first up in Alice's ocean education is scuba training.
The first time I started diving with Gon, I was pretty nervous.
Well, Alice has been working really hard. She did her open water, and it's a very rigorous program. She became certified and confident. And then we came here to Sea Venture and went to Sipadan today, the island of the shark.
Just off the east coast of Sabah, in Malaysian Borneo, lies the island of Sipadan, famed the world over for its rich and diverse marine life. And its most famous residents are the ones that Alice has the biggest passion for.
I heard there are a lot of sharks in Sipadan, but I know their population is really declining.
One estimate from our partners is that sharks in this area are 90% overfished.
Good morning, welcome to Stewards. We'll be heading in that direction with the reef on our left-hand side. Maybe we'll stay in the shallow for about 10-15 minutes or so. We try to search for the bumphead parrotfish. Maybe a couple of white tips, not that many in the mornings usually. Maybe some turtles as well.
How much you have? We're at South Point. This is where all the sharks are down deep.
We're ready.
Yeah, let's go do it. 2, 3, go.
I've never seen anything like that. It's like entering an entirely new world. I know it's not that common to see sharks anymore, so it was quite amazing seeing so many sharks at a time.
How was that?
It was great. It was amazing.
They're called sling jaw because they can sling their jaw out like some sharks. Alice is learning about fish and sharks, but also the realities of the ocean. The coral triangle has more species than any place in the marine environment in the whole planet. And it is deserving to be protected, and it's at huge risk. This is a baby manta ray. So the gills are gone, right? So they eat the meat, but they pick the gills for medicine. That's what we've been looking for when we're diving. And we used to see huge ones here. There are millions of hungry people eating fish. There's a lot of runoff from the land, a lot of pollution, a lot of plastic that we saw. And we even felt fish bombs when we were diving this marine protected area at Sipadan Island.
After marveling at the biodiversity and sharks of Sipadan, I wanted to show Alice how our local partners in Sabah are working to protect sharks and other threatened marine life. So we traveled to Pom Pom Island to see for ourselves what is being done to help protect our ocean's creatures and fragile habitat.
David. How you doing? Great to see you.
Good. Welcome to TRAC.
We made it. Here we are on Pom Pom Island, Alice.
Yeah. What does TRAC do?
TRAC is a research and conservation center that is doing coral reef restoration, fish surveys, so we'll dive along and do transects and do fish IDs and an estimate of population, as well as looking for our sharks.
One of the great experiences that I've had here is hands-on conservation that's really simple and fun. We use empty bottles, glass bottles, and cement and sand.
We'll just wait for them to solidify, cure for a day, a couple days, and then we put them out on the reef.
It's like a sanctuary. It provides shelter for ocean creatures, corals, and fish.
We're helping that along by taking fragments that have been broken off the reef by nature or wildlife or sometimes boats in an area and tying those onto the reef bottles themselves so that that reef system will have a chance to grow. I've been coming here for 3 years and I've seen some of these reef bottles overgrown. The coral is starting to grow rapidly. We're seeing small fish use them as refuge. Invertebrates are using them as habitat. And now we're seeing more predatory fish come in and eat those smaller fish. So we're rebuilding that whole trophic level of the ecosystem.
I think it's very important for us to try to engage the local community and local people. Community Day, we went to Kalapuan Island. Ultimately, conservation is everyone's job. It's not just a group of people.
Selamat pagi.
I feel that if we're going to protect the ocean, we have to engage the next generation. Today is Kalapuan Shark Day, and so we're here at the school today engaging youth, not only just kind of having fun, but also talking about biology, the ecosystem, and why the ocean is important to protect.
We're doing a beach cleanup, so we're picking up all the garbage around this area, and we're engaging the local children to do it with us as well.
Hopefully some of this will sink in to these little kids who are having fun and they're picking up thousands of straws. It seems plastic straws, which harm a lot of marine life. Really just basic practices that we all can do at home anywhere around the world. With 10 million tons of plastic entering the ocean every year, we can't go out in the middle of the ocean and clean it up. We've got to start at the shores and at the rivers and at the beaches. By actively engaging the children, hopefully that will trickle through to the rest of the community, or at least one kid who can make a difference.
I learned a lot from this trip. I saw from my own eyes the difference between natural reefs and ones that are destroyed. I saw how human behaviors can impact the environment. This world we live in, we can't harm it in any way because this is the only place we've got.
I think we all can be ocean stewards. We can all be shark stewards. Wherever we live, however we act, we can decide not to eat unsustainable seafood, not to eat shark fin soup, be concerned about species that are being overfished, worry about pollution like plastics. And also, we can also engage others and tell people we need to love it and we need to protect it because it's humanity's future.
if all of us are aware of the situation, if all of us contribute to conservation, I think there's definitely hope for the ocean.